It looks like the campaign strategy of Republican candidates for multiple years now is finally going to have to change. And that strategy, of course, is trans, 24/7, floor to ceiling. We will talk about only one thing, and that is how there is a trans person behind you right now. Don't think about your health insurance. Don't think about your wages. Don't think about inflation. Please don't think about inflation. Just think about trans people. And they have convinced themselves that that is a great way to run. But now there's some increasing evidence coming up from the state level that implies that people might finally be getting bored with that old trick. Over the past few years, Republicans have been really focusing on this, but take a look at Virginia. In some key races, Republicans have been trailing in the polls for months. A George Mason University poll taken just days before the election shows Democrat Abigail Spanberger up by 12 points over Republican Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earle-Sears in the governor's race. And so what does that have to say about this campaign strategy? Well, Winsome Earle-Sears, real name, has been running this sort of ad, basically just stealing Donald Trump's thing from the 2024 election. Spanberger is for they, them, not us. And in this case, they don't even have the thing they did with Harris where 18 years ago or whatever, she was asked a question about trans people that she answered that she did not bring up. They don't even have that. It's just, hey, isn't that a scary looking trans person? They exist. So does Spanberger. What do you think about her? And so that's how he's been running. And yet he's losing by 12 points. Now, obviously on the other side, Abigail Spanberger has just been running ads talking constantly about how awesome trans people are and how they should have all of your rights and get all of your money. No, of course she didn't do that. She's doing what they always do, which is to a greater or lesser extent in terms of policy that I might approve of, talking about the economy. Like the actual things that affect people. Trans people generally are not front of mind for most voters. They deserve respect. They deserve protection from the ongoing crusade and campaign of the right, but they're not generally the thing that people focus on the most. And that's not my speculation. Look at the actual polling here on the most important issues in Virginia. You can see that transgender issues are very important to 27% of the population. 23% say it's somewhat important, but that's obviously just around, that's about half. You look at any of these other issues and housing affordability, 64%. So more people think it's very important than think transgender issues are important at all. The economy is at 79%, very important. And again, now you might think, well, that's pretty callous. I mean, shouldn't people care about what happens to trans people? But bear in mind, when they're told to think about transgender issues, it's not like the Republicans put up legislation that hurts trans people and the Democrats put up legislation that benefits them or advantages them in some way. The only time it's ever a question in politics in the last decade has been attacks against trans people. And so people not focusing on that is actually a good thing. And the thing is, a lot of Democrats I think will take from this, oh good, let's not focus as much on transgender issues or identity politics. But I want to be very clear, and I understand, maybe I'm in a bubble, feel free to pop it if I am. What Democrat has focused on any of these issues in years and years and years? Did Harris? Was Harris just running constant ads about the LGBTQ population or about race or about women? No, not at all. And they don't at the state level either. The Republicans focus on this stuff and their goal is to pitch the Democrats as extreme on these issues, but the Democrats are not bringing up literally any of this stuff. And so regardless of what you think of it in terms of a campaign strategy, understand how utterly dishonest the narrative about how the two sides campaign has been. The Democrats have been hit as being utterly focused on identity politics when it is the Republicans that inject 95% of it into the daily feed of news. Now that doesn't mean, by the way, that these Democrats have historically been running on good stuff. Generally, they run on very little or just attacking the right or basically a continuation of the status quo. And I think you could do a lot better than that. I think Zoran Mamdani is demonstrating that in New York. But let's please at last dispense with the myth that the Democrats just constantly talk about this stuff that is exclusively discussed by the Republicans. And to bring it back to the beginning, perhaps to the detriment of those Republican candidates. because just running on that is not saving Earl-Sears in Virginia. Now we'll see how it goes, in states around the country, and obviously in the 2028 presidential race, whoever it is that runs is going to try to make that the big issue of the campaign. But this is some reason to believe that that strategy isn't working anymore, if it ever did.